Do you really think this is better than this? I mean, come on. What's up, guys? Joe here from ScruffyArms.com and the Scruffy Fam. Hey, really appreciate everyone that's subscribed lately. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe, bell notification, hit that like button. It just really helps us grow on YouTube. We're really close to 1,000, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who's subscribed lately. And if you're enjoying this content, please comment. I love interacting with anybody that comments on here. I love sharing experiences, and I really appreciate everyone who responded about what their first hunting rifle was and what it was chambered in, if you still had it or not. So I just did a couple videos on getting a Remington 700 SPS Tactical and 308 Winchester, and I got some messages about why do you even need a 308 when you have a 6.5 Creedmoor. And then I had the people advocating the 6.5 Creedmoor was better than the 308 Winchester. And you know, I understand that there are people who are very passionate about the calibers that they choose. I am too. I have my own personal preferences of things, but I will never let that get in the way of the data when I recommend things to you guys. And some of my highest viewed videos are the ones where I compare cartridges with each other. Today, we're going to talk about the 6.5 Creedmoor versus the 308 Winchester. Now, we need to set some ground rules before we ever get started here, and let's not get this twisted. These are not the same, okay? They're not the same. Can they perform ballistically with drag, drop, velocity, all that stuff? Yes. They're actually very similar when fired out of the same length barrel, same type of ammunition. But this is a 30 caliber. This is a 6.5, I mean it's 6 millimeters, okay? Smaller than this. Let's hold them up so you can see the difference between the two bullets, okay? There is a size difference between these. So what does that mean on impact? Now, I'm not the first person to do a comparison video between these two. If you guys don't watch the Vortex Nation podcast, they just did a 6.5 versus 308 where they shot into ballistic gel. They used regular cup and core, and they used copper bullets, and you got to see the impact. You got to see the penetration. They took just the stated box velocities of things, and they gave their own recommendations on which one they thought was better. And there are plenty of other people who've done that as well. And while I love seeing all of that data, what I really want to get into is let's go apples to apples and talk about why you would even compare these, why people compare these, and what is the benefit of doing that? So first, let's start off with what is the intent behind these cartridges? So the 308 Winchester is a civilian offshoot of the 7.62 by 51, which is a military cartridge. That military cartridge was designed to replace the 30-06, which it ended up doing. So in the civilian market, the 308 was designed to replace the 30-06. More mild in recoiling, could fit in a short action, you could get smaller rifles. And due to that, it exploded in popularity. It took a little bit to get going, but once it did, it has just flown, okay? The 308 is the widely most popular centerfire rifle and caliber right now. The 6.5 Creedmoor is getting closer, okay? Now, one of the reasons that the 308 has distanced so far is because it's available in multiple platforms. You can get it in semi-automatic, fully automatic, bolt action, single shot, all those things. We're just now starting to see that with the 6.5 Creedmoor as well. But again, we need to understand where we're coming from in this conversation, is that the 6.5 and the 308, while we can ballistically compare them, when you put apples to apples, one is a 30 caliber and one is a 6 millimeter. They are not the same, okay? I want to get that out of the way first. And so you can understand where I'm coming from, I've already done a comparison video between the 6.5 PRC and the 6.5 Creedmoor. In that, I said the 6.5 PRC was better. Also, I did another video of the 6.5 Creedmoor versus the 243 Winchester, talking about being the more well-rounded hunting caliber for whitetail and down, okay? And I said the 243 was better at that. But we need to give the 6.5 Creedmoor its due. I think it is a fantastic medium game cartridge, second to what its primary intent was. Its primary intent was to be a target round, okay? So you need to understand that first and foremost, that it is a target round doing hunting things. Is it a capable hunting round? Yes, it is. It is very capable. I don't need to go into that because plenty of other people have shown their videos of shooting you pick it on this planet with a 6.5 Creedmoor. Do I agree with a lot of those people on what they shot with? No, I don't. But bullet placement, bullet construction, appropriate ranges go a long way into harvesting an animal. The 308 Winchester is a 30 caliber. Now, if you told me what I thought was better between the 308 and the 30-06, I think the 30-06 is a more well-rounded everything type of caliber, but I think the 308 is more economical and makes more sense to own. I think the 308 is a perfect one gun, right? If you could only have one, I would say my first choice for someone, especially if they were new into firearms, would be get a 308 because they're available, ammunition is readily available, and it just kind of makes sense to put those things together. So before we ever get any farther, before I do any other data, I want you to know, if someone asked me, would you pick a 308 over a 6.5 Creedmoor, I would pick a 308. Now, I'll show you why. So we're set up here, looking at my laptop, and hopefully you guys can see that. I'm not fancy enough to do the split screen stuff yet. So when we look at this, I've got 6.5 Creedmoor here, and I've got 308 Winchester over here. Now, we're going off of a assumption of a 22-inch barrel, okay? So a 22-inch barrel, all of these are tested with a 24-inch barrel, so there is a calculation that you can do to figure out how to approximate velocity, and one of the ways that you can do that is for the starting velocities that both of these have out of those test barrels, you subtract 20 feet per second per inch of barrel. So I went down to a 22-inch barrel for both of these because a 22-inch barrel is fairly common for a standard hunting rifle. Then I'm going to show you what the difference is between what this says for my 308 and what it's really going to be, because I have a 16.5-inch barrel on my 308. Okay, so let's talk about this. When we're looking at the 6.5 Creedmoor here, we're saying we're getting a starting velocity of 2,660 feet per second with in foot-pounds of energy of 2247, and that is at the muzzle, okay? This is Hornady Precision Hunter. It's 143 grain for the 6.5 Creedmoor, and it's 178 grain for the 308, which is a little heavy for caliber, but that's what we're gonna compare. All right, so velocity for the 308 is 2560, so about 100 feet per second difference, but the energy is 2590, okay? 2590, 2247, 2590. So the 308 has more foot-pounds of energy right off the bat. When we get to 100 yards, majority of people shoot their game within 100 yards. So, velocity for a 6.5 Creedmoor, 2519, foot-pounds of energy, 2014, within 100 yards. 308, 2404, about 100 feet per second slower, but carrying 2283. That's almost 275 foot-pounds of energy more at 100 yards for a 308 over the 6.5. 200 yards, 2382 with 1801. Okay? 200 yards for 308, 2253. So again, about 120 feet per second, but 2006 foot-pounds of energy. There's only a half-inch drop difference, okay? That's it. Half inch between the two, 4.5. When we go out to 300 yards, 2249 for velocity, 1606. Okay, 1,606 foot-pounds of energy, 14.5-inch drop. 308, 2107, so we're about 140 feet per second slower. Energy, 1755, so about 150 more foot-pounds of energy, and 15.9, so we've got about another almost 2 inches of drop difference. 400 yards, 2120, 1968, 1427 energy, 1530 energy, 31.2, 35.1. 500 yards, 1996, 1265, 1834, 1329, 55.9, so almost 56, 63.4. All right, so looking at these numbers, velocities are not that far off. We're looking at 150 feet per second. Energy, so there's more velocity with the 6.5 Creedmoor. There's more energy with the 308 Winchester. The 6.5 Creedmoor drops less than the 308, but not by much. Okay? Out to 500 yards, not by much. Now everyone says, oh, well, the 6.5 Creedmoor starts to take the advantage when you go past 500 yards. Okay, guys, so I talked about that I was already going to tell you that I thought the 308 was better than the 6.5 Creedmoor. The reason behind that is the energy on target compiled with bullet construction and shot placement goes so much farther in harvesting an animal. Now I'm talking specifically for hunting, okay? For hunting. I don't care about ringing steel past 500 yards, 1,000 yards, a mile. What I care about is making a good shot with enough energy behind the bullet for it to do its job for me to harvest the animal. I did a shot placement video not that long ago, and I used the 6.5 Creedmoor. I used it because that's what I had at the range that I needed to zero. Put one in the heart, one in the high shoulder, and one in the head. I was able to do all three of those at 100 yards. At 100 yards with a 308, if I shoot something in the head, it's going to fall dead. If I shoot it in the high shoulder, it's going to fall dead. If I shoot it in the heart, it's going to fall dead. Okay? At 100 yards with a 6.5 Creedmoor, if I shoot it in the head, dead. Shoot it high shoulder, dead. Shoot it in the heart, dead. At that point, does it matter? No. So, if you had to choose between the 308 and the 6.5 Creedmoor, my first question to you would be, is it solely a hunting rifle, or is it going to be something that you're going to use for recreational shooting and long-range shooting as well? If you say yes to that, I may tell you to get a 6.5 Creedmoor because they are designed to be target rounds. If you plan on ringing steel more than you do on shooting game, a 6.5 Creedmoor is probably the way for you to go. If you plan on shooting more game and less steel, the 308 is the way to go. So guys, what I wanted to share with you today was look at the numbers with a true understanding of what we're trying to do when we compare the 6.5 Creedmoor to the 308. Now, I'm going to do one more thing here to finish off this video because I'm going to do another video next time that's going to talk about short-barreled rifles, what the benefit and what the cost is of having them. My 308 is a 16.5-inch barrel. I will not get the same numbers that I showed you here. That is for a 22-inch barrel. That's taking a 22-inch 6.5 Creedmoor versus a 22-inch 308. So let's look at one thing real quick to see where this starts to change. By dropping the barrel length on my 308 Winchester, now ballistically my 308 and the 6.5 are just about equal. And I'm talking within 50 foot-pounds of energy and within 50 to 100 foot-pounds of energy and 100 to 200 feet per second in velocity. So when I cut off 6 more inches, that is where things start to become equal between the two. So that's the versatility of a 308 Winchester, as I can still cut the barrel down significantly and still get really, really good performance out of it. So guys, let me know what you think. Which one do you think is better? Are you a 6.5 Creedmoor fan? If you are, I have one. I enjoy shooting it. I get why people like it. Are you a 308 fan? Again, I have one. I really enjoy the 308. I think it's a fantastic, capable cartridge. I really do. So let me know what you guys think. Go ahead and comment down below. Tell me if you like one or the other better. Is there certain grain weights that you prefer out of the two? I'm going to be hitting the range. I think I've got 9 or 10 different boxes of ammunition with different weights that we're going to take for the 308. I've already done ammo testing with the 6.5 Creedmoor on several different weights, so you can check out that video and let me know what you guys think. If there's a different ammo you want me to compare these two, comment down below with that too. If you have an idea of what you think is the most optimized 6.5 Creedmoor round and the most optimized 308 round, let's compare those two together. Go ahead and comment down below, tell me what you think they are, and we'll pull up the charts and see how they measure up. So guys, until next time, stay blessed, and I'll see you next time.